Weight loss drugs are everywhere right now. I know people on them, you probably do too. And to be clear, they work. People lose weight. That's not up for debate. But the real question isn't whether they work, it's what they replace. Historically, fat loss required restraint. Hunger was the training stimulus, discomfort was the teacher. When you remove the stimulus, you remove the adaptation. And that's what no one wants to talk about. This video, this conversation, is not a drug conversation. It's a responsibility conversation. By now you've probably heard of all these drugs: Ozempic, Wegovy, Mounjaro. Not just have you heard of them, but probably close relatives, friends, family, or maybe even yourself are on these drugs. And as we can see with everyone using these drugs, they work. They fucking work. Copious amounts of weight flying off people in such a short period of time. They do this very conveniently by simply reducing the hunger that one feels. Restraint, self-control is no longer necessary. All that's necessary is that little drug needle that you put into your arm. So for people taking these drugs that are only concerned with losing weight, well, if the scale is the only metric, they succeed. However, these drugs do not help, do not teach, or do not give you the skill for discomfort tolerance. It doesn't give you the skill or the resilience for impulse control, natural restraint, appetite regulation. These drugs do nothing for that. All these drugs do is stop you feeling hungry. And as a result, your calories go down, and as a result, you lose weight. There's no thought process behind this. The only thought process is going and buying the drugs in the first place. These drugs don't just suppress appetite, they outsource restraint. This isn't a moral judgment, it's just a functional analysis. It reminds me of a famous quote: "The behavior changes, but the man doesn't." These analogies can resonate very simply when you look at the parallels of training. Your muscles, for example, will not stimulate, and the tissue will not regenerate and will not grow if they are not put under sufficient load. And that load each week needs to increase. Therefore, your tolerance to deal with that load, your resilience, your restraint, needs to also grow each week. You need to additionally adapt each week. Discipline doesn't grow without friction, and appetite control doesn't grow without hunger. You see, if a process removes discomfort, it also removes the opportunity to develop discipline. Now, for a society that's obsessed with quick fixes, this is not shocking at all. And right now you may be thinking, well, why would I do it the hard way when I can easily do it the easy way? Why? Well, I argue, us humans were not really built for that purpose, were we? We are amazing creatures at adaptation, adapting to our surroundings. We are creatures for adventure, for resilience, for building, for innovating things that once thought was out of our reach. But we are creatures that are hard, thick-skinned. We are not light, we are hard. Everything you see around us now was not developed from the idealisms of shortcuts. It was developed through a will to always improve. You see, when an external pressure disappears, whatever internal structure you built is what remains. Let me explain this. A lot of users on these drugs, once they come off it, they resound to gain the same weight back, or even sometimes even more weight than they begun with. It's almost as if the body that suppressed that hunger has finally had an urge to break out of its cage, and it floods you with these insane hunger strikes that you're just too weak to fight against. I personally know people that came off the drug for a couple of months and has put on close to all the weight back on. A lot of health professionals are now suggesting that people, for these drugs, to keep the weight off, people will have to be on these drugs long term. That, to me, is fucking insanity. If you'd built a strong, resilient mind to begin with, you wouldn't need to be paying a strong, hefty bill each month of sometimes over £300 a month just to keep your drug fix going. If habits weren't built in the first place, environment wins, and you're better than your environment. And if standards weren't raised, old patterns return. They always return. I see it day in and day out, and I'm seeing it right now. You know it and I know it. To be fair, This isn't rebound because people are weak. It's rebound because nothing was trained. That distinction matters. In my aggressive attitude and approach, I may argue that some people are weak-minded. I may argue that some people simply are just fucking lazy. And that is true. But discipline and habits can be built and can be trained. I'm not anti-medicine. I'm anti-delusion. Tools are completely fine. We use them every day. I use training aids. I use supplementation. Tools are completely fine. But if a tool replaces responsibility instead of reinforcing it, the bill comes later. Weight loss isn't the same thing as self-mastery, and suppressed appetite isn't discipline. Shortcuts that bypass character don't create freedom. They delay the cost.